You're listening to the Miitomo Life Podcast. The following podcast was recorded April 27th, 2019. Welcome to the 9th episode of the Miitomo Life Podcast. I'm Visual Brian, or Brian Rose, and today we're finally joined by Abram after a couple weeks of the schedule change.
Yeah, sorry about that.
It's okay. We all have our lives going on, so.
Yeah,
So, how are you today?
I'm actually doing really good. I just went to a Boy Scout thing. I just came
Oh,
back
nice.
from that. Yeah, it's a pleasure to be here. Thank you.
Yes, of course. And of course, you are the man responsible for our server logo and our podcast logo, so thank you for that.
You're welcome. It's good.
Before we get into the server talk, which is the first section of the podcast, quickly, I just want to wish Butter a happy birthday. Butter's the creator of the server, and it would feel wrong for me not to wish her a happy birthday, even though she's not here anymore. It's still important to me, so happy birthday, Butter.
If Butter's watching this, happy birthday for me as well.
Aw. So, talk to me about your life before Miitomo Life. What was that like?
So, before the whole server was going on, I was just using the app and all that.
Yeah.
I don't know, I kind of just found it, and I didn't actually know you could add other people like that. I just had myself, and I was just answering the questions for no one else, I guess.
Oh, you mean like on Miitomo?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and eventually I found connection of like a bunch of other people through there, and that was really cool to get to know some people.
Yeah. I met a lot of people on Miitomo, and I was really sad to see it go.
Yeah, but it's good that I found the link into here, which is nice.
Yeah. There were a few people posting links to the server on Miitomo. Like I know that Butter, of course, when she created the server, posted some links. And I believe Marco also posted the link here and there.
I believe I got it from Marco, I'm not sure.
I got mine from Butter.
Yeah.
But regardless of how we ended up here, I'm glad that you're here, and I'm glad that I'm here.
Yeah.
Just to piggyback on that, how was your time on Miitomo? Like, did you enjoy it? Did you?
Yeah, I really enjoyed it. I just had fun. I like the customization of like the characters. That was fun.
Yeah.
I actually bought all the wall picture spots.
Yeah, the posters.
Yeah, I bought all the spots and I used it to make like a custom wallpaper.
Oh wow.
Yeah. And I actually got a few questions from people. It's like, how do you get that wallpaper?
I was always tempted to buy the posters, but I was like, even though it was $1 per spot, I was just like,
They don't let you buy them all at once. I had to do it manually, and my mom was starting to get a little irritated from that, you know.
But I mean, it's cool though. Like it's more personalized to have your room more decorated like that.
Mm-hmm. I also like the picture sharing and creation tools. That's what I'm hoping for if Miitomo goes on to iOS. That's what I'd probably be using the most out of it.
Well, Shutterbug is working on it. It's a time-consuming process, but
yeah, of course,
he's
like
working on it. Yeah. And we're all patient. We've been waiting a long time. We can wait another long time if we need to.
I don't really mind if it takes whatever amount of time. Like,
yeah,
I'm okay with waiting.
Mm-hmm. So, tell me about your server experience. What are your thoughts on everything here?
This is actually on the top of my server list, and I check it all the time, talk with people. It's just a way of having the same experience that I used to have playing the game, with the question of the day.
Yeah.
It just feels like that, I guess.
Yeah. I mean, like, that's sort of the goal here. It's supposed to be a sort of Miitomo community, even though it's not Miitomo. We're still all here.
Yeah, it works. And a lot of good friends here, too.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
So, would you say that the servers had an impact on you?
Yeah, definitely. Like I said earlier, check it all the time, made good friendships and had fun experiences like through the events and all that.
Oh, okay. Well, I'm glad. So now it's time to take that segue that everyone seems to like to hobbies and interests. So, what do you like to do?
So regarding the logo and all that, I'm really into graphic design. Like I like to design things. I've done like Discord logos for my friends, designed a website for my scout troop and stuff. Like
Oh, wow.
yeah. So I'm into that. I'm also interested in game development, and I've been working on a big project for a while, just based on a story that I came up with a long time ago. I don't really know how to describe it. It's gonna be an RPG, sci-fi, kind of dystopian type game.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, and sometimes I'll post updates about that in the art channel.
Yeah, I saw your most recent update about the stairs. It's
Yeah,
looking good.
yeah, thank you.
Of course.
Yeah, I used Game Maker Studio 2 for that, and there's also another software which I think is really cool. It's called Pico 8, and it adds limitations to what you're making, like a limited amount of colors, limited amount of code. It's called a fantasy console because it has like those fantasy limitation specs, and it's really cool to see what people do with it. You might have heard of the game Celeste that came out for the Switch and PC and all that. That was originally made with Pico 8.
Oh, nice.
It was remade, like, it was, made into that bigger game, and you can actually find a little computer in the game, and you can play the original that was made.
That's really cool. I love it when developers do that sort of thing.
Yeah, and so I like to mess around with that a lot, and it's always updating, and new games for it are coming out, so
Okay, awesome. Is there any other hobbies that you'd like to talk about?
yeah, this is kind of a strange one. I actually do parkour. I go to parkour practice at a parkour gym. It's different from a normal sport. Like, you get to make it like your own, I guess. It's not like competitive. It's
It's individualized.
yeah, like they could say, "Oh, don't touch the ground, but run from this point to that point." But you can take so many different ways to get there,
Yeah.
and there's a bunch of crazy people there, like who can do like backflips and stuff. It's phenomenal, and I love the experience of that. Just it's really fun.
You just gotta be careful, that's all.
Yeah, I haven't, like, injured myself, like, that bad, but, like, I've hit my shin, and it was, like, the worst thing ever. They call it, like, a shinner. It hurts really bad.
I can imagine.
Yeah, I just was jumping up a incline, and I hit my knee, but there was, like, rubber mulch, but I didn't, like, fall on, like, hard ground or anything, so it wasn't that bad.
Well, I'm glad it was just that then. Any other hobbies?
I like to do pixel art, like, I've done it since I was young, like, when I got my first computer, I would do that in Microsoft Paint, and then when I got a little bit older, I would take different Pokemon sprites and, like, mash them together and stuff.
Oh, nice.
And now I'm, making game sprites for stuff, and, I use this program called Sprite, and it's like Photoshop for pixel art, and it's just really nice, like, I've done, like, stuff for Minecraft texture packs on that program. Speaking of Minecraft, it's getting retextured, and the person who's retexturing it is using this program, which I thought was pretty cool.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
So would you say that because you started with pixel art, that sort of led to other things?
Yeah, yeah. During that time when I was, like, mashing Pokemon sprites together, there was a school project, and they let you do it on, like, literally whatever you wanted, and I chose pixel art, and, I brought in, like, my Chromebook, and I'd, like, draw pixel art stuff. I just ask you, like, "I can show you how I can do it," and I had, history of it, like, big games that had pixel art as a main design aspect.
I think that's really cool.
Yeah, thank you.
Of course. So what about your interests? What are some of the things that interest you?
This is gonna sound like out of nowhere, but I like brutalist architecture. It's like this architecture style. it's all concrete and metal, and it's really stark. I can't really describe it, but if you go look it up, it's really beautiful. But sadly, a lot of these buildings are getting torn down for newer buildings because
Oh,
these buildings are mostly really old. I have a book on them, on buildings. It's just really pleasing to the eyes, but it's kind of one of those things where it's like a acquired taste. Like there's a college building I went to for a camp, and it was brutalist architecture, and I thought it was amazing looking, but all the staff working there thought it was the ugliest thing.
well, in a way, architecture is art at its
Yeah,
core, and art is very interpretive and it's individualized. It's something that is different for everyone that's creating and everyone that is viewing. So, what's beautiful to you might not be to someone else, and vice versa. But I think that is something that's sort of like fundamental to our just like being human.
yeah, I get it.
Yeah. Do you have any other interests you want to talk about?
I've been interested in like building computers. This kind of started a while ago, where, like I said earlier, I was messing around in Microsoft Paint. Like I had a really old clunky computer, but now I have like an all-in-one that's slightly less clunky, and it's using Windows 8 still. And I have to run Rocket League in like a minimized tab at all low settings to get it to even be playable. Like,
Oh wow.
yeah, I decided that it's time to upgrade, and so I just invested a bunch of time in studying how, what parts like work together and all that. And I've been ordering in the parts over the past few months, and I have half of them in, and I'm pretty excited about that. Also, along with building computers, I have this thing called a pocket chip. It was like this old Linux terminal that you can bring it around with you, and it runs that Pico 8 fantasy console on it, which is pretty cool. And I also set up like emulators for Game Boy on it. So
Okay. That sounds really cool actually.
yeah, another thing that I'm interested in is augmented reality, which I think is going to be a huge part of the future, and like is going to be everywhere. There's a good video called Hyper Reality, and it shows what things might be like in the future if that takes over a big portion of where the future is headed.
I'll have to check that out.
Yeah. I've also been keeping up to date on stuff like the Microsoft HoloLens and Magic Leap and all that stuff, and it's been making pretty big strides, and things keep seeming like they're getting more and more advanced, and it's just really, really neat.
Yeah, yeah. So do you have any other interests before we move on?
Uh, no, not that I'm gonna think of right now.
Oh, okay. So the next section of our podcast is I call the personal section,
Yeah.
and it's just basically just talking to you about what are some of your goals, strengths, and challenges. But we'll start with goals first. So can you tell me a little bit about that?
For goals, I don't really have much, but I've been trying to get better grades and in school, like pretty much everyone else. And another big goal for me is I'm trying to learn the programming language, GML, game maker language, more in depth, so I can do more advanced things in game development. Like I kind of dabbled in Lua a while ago, but I didn't touch it after a while, and I kind of got rusty. But I kind of want to get this, pinned down so I can work with it easily and make things.
Yeah.
Other than that, probably is to be a little bit more organized.
Oh yes. Organization.
If I showed someone my downloads folder, they probably wouldn't want to meet me in real life. Like, I don't organize anything, it's all just thrown in there. On my new computer, I'm probably gonna uh, I've already set up plans to, how I'm gonna organize my downloads and stuff. But it's not just, on the computer. It's, organizing my bag when I go to school, and my room, which I remember one day I was like younger, and I'm like, I don't like how my room is. I'm just gonna ask for help to move some furniture around. And then because my parents were like so shocked, like, oh, he has ideas to start reorganizing his place, we went to IKEA, and I got like a new table and chair, and yeah, I like how my room is set up, and I've been organizing, where everything is in there. So
Yeah. What they say is that if you have a more organized and cleaner workspace, you're more efficient when you work.
yeah,
So yeah, the organization does actually help more than just the aesthetic of a clean room versus a messy room.
yeah. I actually cleaned up my desk space, so it's easier to set up my computer when it's done.
Yeah,
So that'll be nice.
yeah, I agree. So, do you have any other goals that you want to talk about?
I'm really not sure. Like, I don't really have much for goals. I'm just kind of seeing where the wind takes me.
Okay, that's fair. So, what would you consider some of your strengths and challenges?
For my greatest strength is probably like creativity and like what I could do with it.
Yes, of course.
And I've always been a creative person, just finding ways outside the box to do things and like to use the creativity to make art, I guess.
Yeah, of course. So, what would you consider some of your challenges?
Yeah, I don't really, sorry about that. I don't
It's
really,
okay.
I hit my leg on my desk. Uh, yeah, I don't really know about challenges, but like, I had one written down, but I'm not really sure if this is a challenge or not. But I live with ADHD, and I'm faced with some challenges, in everyday life. But it's not really, the end of the world, and like, it's not even a big challenge. It's like the only thing I could think of really. But it's not the end of the world, and just I'm happy. Like I'm enjoying my life. Doesn't really get in
Yeah,
the way at all. Yeah,
I have ADHD myself, and it's just about managing it. So, this doesn't make you less capable of doing things compared to others that don't have it. It's just something that you have to manage. That's all.
yeah.
Yeah. So, any other strengths or challenges you want to talk about?
Uh, no.
Okay. So now it's time to have some fun. Not that we haven't been having fun, but this is probably my favorite part of the podcast.
Yeah, in the notes is just as fun, all caps.
Fun.
Yeah,
um, so I'm going to ask you some quick fire questions.
yeah,
So are you ready?
yeah.
Favorite color?
Oh, okay, okay. Blue and purple.
Okay, good. Favorite time of day?
Afternoon I can just hang out and stuff then.
Okay. And the first thing you would buy with $1 million?
Probably something for my family, but afterwards I'd probably build like a way overpowered PC that doesn't even
Supercomputer.
Yeah.
So, cats or dogs?
I have a dog and I love him so much. He's the cutest thing. I love dogs. I love cats too, but I like cats. Uh, dogs. I like dogs more. It's too fast, man.
It's okay. Okay.
Yeah. No, no, it's
Well,
fine. It's fine.
hot or cold temperature?
Uh, hot. Like I'm from a generally cold area, and I like it when it's hot out, and I can walk down to the store and it's nice out.
Fair enough. And your favorite YouTube channel?
I have a lot, but there's one YouTube channel. He's a musician. It's Wintergatan. I think that's how you pronounce it. He made a viral video a while back called "Marble Machine," and it was a song that was played on this big contraption that he made. It's almost like a big music box, and he's working on a new and improved one that can play multiple songs that can be changed out and stuff. And he makes new update videos every Wednesday. It's pretty cool.
Oh wow.
I could actually, probably send you the link to it and then you could put it in the description.
Yeah.
He's a really cool guy.
Okay. Awesome.
Yeah.
The next part is a question submitted by members of the server, and the first one has a few follow-up questions. So let's
Okay.
get into it. So, do you plan on going to college?
Yes.
And what are you gonna major in?
Oh man, I have no idea, but probably something design related because I'd like to work in some graphic design job and then I could, do game development, on the side, when I'm home and not working on stuff.
That sounds nice.
Yeah.
Yeah. The next question here is aside from your hobbies, what is something you like to do in your free time?
I like to listen to music. I like chill hop, like
Oh, nice.
that mellow music,
Yeah.
like acoustic stuff, like ambient stuff, and like at the parkour gym or I'm playing like a video game, I'll probably listen to like EDM or something.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And the next question we have here is there anyone on Miitomo Life that you were friends with on Miitomo?
So there's so many people. I'm not sure if I can think of all the specifics. I remember you, I think. I remember Marco for sure. I think there are a few others, but I think Devin and it was someone else. But yeah, there are a lot of people here who I had added on Miitomo. I had a lot of people.
Oh, okay. I wish we had more time with Miitomo.
Yeah, definitely. I made a video on this actually, just about, my time using the platform.
Yes, I remember that video.
Yeah. And I remember I was just like on Twitter and I saw a Kotaku article that just said Miitomo was shutting down. I was like really bummed out.
Yeah.
All good things must come to an end at some point,
Yeah, of course. So the last question I have here before we get to the Joe question we have the last question is from me, and I'm asking you, can you talk to me about your design process and how you went about designing our logos?
Okay. So what I did was I went into the app and I screenshotted a lot of colors that were present, mostly like the green kind of polka dot pattern that was on a lot of the UI, and then the blue that showed up a lot. And then I saved them to a color palette, and then the original logo, well, I got the logo and I just found a font generator for that just said life, and then I kind of threw it together. But the other one I put some more time into it and found some kind of free for use like bubbly looking font that kind of matched that style that Miitomo had.
Yeah.
I like to incorporate styles. I just try to think about what is, the logo being used for? Like, what are people gonna think of when they see it? And so I tried to make it reminiscent of the old app, like the design of logos and fonts there.
Yeah. When people see the logo, they think Miitomo, so you did a really good job.
Yeah, thank you. So with the podcast logo, I actually got some help from the people on the server. They were given ideas, and I just use the same font as the server logo currently, and spelled it out, and then kind of added in my own little plug for a microphone there, and vectored that, and it looks pretty good. So,
Yeah, I think so too.
and another thing with the design aspect, like sometimes like as I said, like you got to think about what they want to think of when they see the logo. I actually designed a logo for my esports club's Discord server, and I added like a little metal finish to it to make it look aggressive and all that. So
Yeah.
yeah,
I think it's really cool that you sort of take all these aspects of design into consideration. It's the mark of a good designer.
yeah, thank you.
Hmm. So now that we're done with the regular, like the normal user submitted question, it's time for the Joe question that we have here.
Who made the joke question? Is this you or is this like
No, no,
is
this
this
is not.
John?
Yeah, this is John.
Oh god.
But he asks, "Is your full name Abraham Lincoln?"
Are you kidding? Okay. So ev- teachers will say this, and teachers say Abraham. Like, okay, it's like everyone. If I get new teachers, they'll say Abraham. Substitutes Abraham. It's everywhere, and it's not like I've kind of gotten used to this at this point, and like I don't care. But like, oh my god, it's a pretty big thing that I bump into a lot.
I hear you.
Yeah.
So, with the joke question behind this, we're coming to the conclusion of the podcast where I sort of give you the floor to talk about any sort of weird or interesting stories you might have.
Okay, so I had a pretty cool story that I had on my website, so I'm just gonna pull this up here. So this is like probably one of my proudest moments in game development, I guess. There was an exhibit that opened up in New York at a small indie game arcade and gallery. It's called Baby Castles. And so a few weeks before I went to New York, I published a game using game development tool called Bitsy, where you can make cute little bite-sized games, I guess. And this gallery, Baby Castles, was having an exhibit about accessible games and stuff like that that people don't need all that much experience to make. And I was on Twitter and I saw a screenshot and it had this whole thing projected of all the little characters from a bunch of the games, and I saw my thing. And so this is like when I was on the car ride to train station to go to New York, and eventually I actually went there and I talked to the people who I saw on Twitter, and it was like I saw something that I made that just happened to just pop up in New York, and the same image that was like being projected on the wall was framed on this huge picture frame at some game convention in London. I think it's called Now Play This, and my thing was on there, and it's just it's it's weird to think about this small little sprite that I made for some small project just travels, you know?
Yeah, yeah, that's really awesome.
Yeah,
Oh, that's such an honor.
yeah,
Well, I remember when that actually happened and you were sharing it on the
yeah,
server.
yeah. I was really excited.
Yeah, it's the most excited I've ever seen you.
Yeah.
Well, I'm really happy for you. Congratulations.
Thank you. There's a big collab with the community who uses that tool, and that's gonna get released pretty soon. Everyone's making their own room, and they're all adding on to each other to make a full game, and so it's looking pretty good so far. And I'm probably gonna, share it with the server when it comes out. So
I would love to play it.
yeah, they're really cool.
I was just going to ask you if you have any other stories you want to tell.
I can't really think of anything.
Well, I guess it's time to close the podcast.
All right, thanks so much for having me.
Yeah, of course. Thanks so much for taking the time out of the day to talk to me.
You're welcome.
So next week we have Fire Angel, not to be confused with Angel Carter, and I'm looking forward to talking to him. And thank you all for listening, and thank you again, Abram, for your contribution to the server and to the podcast channel with your brilliant designs. So with that said, bye for now.
All right, see ya.
Banner and editing by Visual Brian. Logo and episode art by Abram. Jingle by Justin. Thank you for listening.